This procedure outlines practices to safely utilize cranes, rating devices, and mechanical lifting equipment at Jenfab Cleaning Solutions. Only qualified persons who are trained, authorized, and familiar with cranes, hoists, or lifting devices shall be allowed to use such devices. This policy applies to all cranes and lifting devices and shall be followed by all Jenfab employees and subcontract personnel. Supervisors' roles include ensuring that employees under their supervision who will operate cranes or hoisting equipment receive the required training and are designated to operate the cranes in their areas, providing adequate time for training for prospective crane operators. A qualified designated instructor must conduct this training, ensuring that hoisting equipment is inspected and tested by a qualified inspector and that rigging equipment is inspected annually or after an event, maintaining record of visual inspections completed before use. Operators are charged with conducting functional tests and inspections prior to using the equipment, selecting and using rigging equipment appropriately. Maintenance is expected to 1. Perform or schedule annual maintenance and inspection of all cranes. 2. Ensure that periodic and special load tests of cranes are conducted. 3. Maintain written records of inspections and tests. 4. Maintain manuals and load documents for cranes. When working with cranes, hoists, or lifting devices, it is essential that only designated persons be allowed to operate such equipment. In the event a subcontractor brings a crane or other lifting device onto Jenfab Cleaning Solutions property, then the subcontractor shall ensure that its operation complies with this policy and all applicable governmental regulations. Qualified operators shall ensure that all personnel are protected from exposure to hazards created by crane operations. Precautions shall also be taken to protect the environment from damage, leaks, spills, or other impact created by the lifting operation. Fixed overhead cranes, hoist, chain falls, etc. require no special authorization for use but must be used only by competent operators. An OSHA competent person is defined as one who is capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in the surroundings or working conditions which are unsanitary, hazardous, or dangerous to employees, and who has authorization to take prompt corrective measures to eliminate them. Operators shall comply with the manufacturer's Safe Operations Manual and shall never exceed the rated capacity of any lifting device. Select rigging equipment that is in good condition. All rigging equipment shall be inspected annually. Defective equipment is to be removed from service and destroyed to prevent inadvertent use. Cranes or hoists shall not be loaded beyond their rated capacity. Any crane or hoist suspected of having been overloaded shall be removed from service. Additionally, overloaded cranes shall be inspected, repaired, load tested, and reapproved by a competent inspector before being returned to service. We often use the forklift to lift equipment and lift fabricators to work at heights. Personal platforms, baskets, and rigging suspended from a crane, hoist, hook, or forklift should be load tested and then retested annually. Fabricators in a manlift basket must be anchored off the harness. Only qualified employees shall participate in rating and signaling activities. A competent person must be supervising the rating and signaling activities to include pre-use inspections of equipment and slings. Rigging equipment should never be loaded in excess of its recommended safe working load. All lifting hooks will have functioning latches that close. Workers will remain 25 from suspended loads unless actively guiding load with taglines. No custom-built rating equipment is authorized. Synthetic web slings should be inspected before use. They should be stored hanging on the appropriate rack. They are to be removed from service for the following: chemical or thermal burns, melting or charring of any part of the sling surface, snags, punctures, tears, or cuts, broken or worn stitches, distortion of fittings, powdering or degradation of internal fibers. Signal persons must be trained and approved prior to assisting in any crane and slash or rating operation.